So welcome to the Node.js Node API team meeting for October 15th, 2021. We'll follow our standard approach of going through the issues that we've tagged for milestone 11. Before we flip over to that, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to share? If not, okay, I'm going to share that list and we can go from there. So the first one was the discussion of the review of the Node serial port. I know a few people have been looking at that. Any updates we want to share or discuss?
I read the comments on the podcast, and now all tests passed, but they need to test on real devices. So yeah, I think that we need some other times, but all it's going on well for now.
Okay. Well, thanks for that update and great. Thanks for helping out with that. It'd be great to see that happen. So. Okay, let's look at our stale issues. I think we are down to one. And this is the one, I know, Jack, you spent some time looking at it. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that. I haven't had a chance to really read in detail. I don't know if anybody else has.
I haven't really done anything with that ticket since like last time I commented.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to discuss on that. Does anybody else have anything to discuss on that one before we move on?
Could you go down just a little bit? In the second to last paragraph, it ends in which the program invoked which eventually gets rejected by V8 with a raw string exception. Does that have anything to do with errors being thrown that are primitive types? I'm just throwing something out there. I guess
I can say that if the reason behind throwing a primitive string in here is that it's in the scope that the JavaScript execution is disallowed. If V8 throws a object, then we are unable to get the error details from the object.
That makes sense. Okay. That's all that I had.
Okay, so yeah, we'll continue to look at this one async, but thanks for everybody who's been involved in looking at that. Let's go back. So that's all we have under stale issues, so not too much there. Tracking issues for modules that are reported. I guess nothing new to report this week, but we'll just npm node. Oh, I guess we just hit over 6 million downloads per week. So it still looks like, you know, usage goes up. I never quite know how to predict when things go up or down like this, but it looks like it's still on a decent path in terms of adoption. Okay, let me go back. Right, okay, maybe it's here. Create a matrix of tested methods. So I guess that's usually, Jack, where we, see if there's anything you want to discuss or things we should look at on the test front.
I just fixed up my test for function references based on some feedbacks, and I think it's ready for review now.
So let me just pull up. That is which one?
No, sorry, it'll be 1035.
This one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is basically you address the comments from Gabriel and Kevin, and we should be ready to go. Okay, so I don't know if Gabriel and Kevin, you have a chance to take another look, that'd be great, and then we can get that landed. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to where maybe I'm. Right. Okay. Here we go. I haven't enabled debug testing. So before we go on, so I guess Deepak, do you want to have anything you want to talk about on your front of improving the ability to like run individual tests?
Oh yeah, I can. I have
if
been
you want to
working
share.
with,
Go
oh
ahead.
yeah, yes. Let me share my screen. I think last time when I demoed, Kevin and others were not here. Gabriel was not here. I can do the demo again. Just a quick demo. Because there was only small changes from last time. Let me do it.
Sure.
Right.
I think we'll have a fair amount of time today, so it makes
Okay.
sense.
So here for the filter conditions, right, I have added a few features like running with a wildcard, right? So I can do a unit filter, and if I want to run everything within the thread safe, say thread safe, right, then I can give it as thread safe star, right? And then it would run everything within the thread safe folder, right? So it picked up everything from the thread safe folder because I gave a star at the end. It's a wildcard.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's just compiling your compile time will be less because it's only doing that one section.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I can also give multiple options. I can quote it and then delimit delimit the my filter conditions with the space npm run unit.
Just fade out.
Yeah.
There you are. So I'm wondering, since we're in the process of
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, you're breaking up, Gabriel.
of scripting this up to
You're back now, though.
okay, I try to maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Maybe you want to mute your video or something because I can see you froze.
it may.
Gabriel, I can't hear.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Maybe able to set like an environment.
So Gabriel, you're popping in and out.
I think
maybe if you turn your video off.
Let me type that in the chat.
Okay. So here, if you see, I added a star in the front, so it picked everything that ended with the function. Right? All the folders. There are a couple of folders here that ended with the thread safe function. It picked that, and from last time there was a limitation from last time when we did the when I did the presentation. If there's some folder that matches the wildcard, a file that matches the wildcard was not picked up, right? The folders were given more priority. I have fixed that as well. So the file is also picked up, right? So here basically star function matched two folders, thread safe function underscore thread safe underscore function and typed thread safe underscore function and one file function. Right? So we are able to match across all folders and functions and then bring it up. This just matched the object wrap file. It's a file. Yeah, object wrap is just one single file. Yeah. So it ran all the tests, right? It also it compiled all the selected conditions that match the filter options, and then it also went ahead and ran the tests on them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Gabriel, let me go and check for Gabriel's. Okay, there's nothing in the chat.
Yeah, I don't see it yet. I guess my question while Gabriel tries to type stuff is like, it'd be nice to get some of this landed. We don't, we can add new things incrementally.
Right.
Is it PR 1078 that
Yes, that's
got
the
all this in it?
Yeah,
Because I see there are a few comments, like Kevin has a few comments.
Yes, I think they are valid comments, minor comments, like why do we need I can answer them, the condition between I can answer that in the PR. Here the reason why we are having this is why did I add it? I'm just thinking maybe I have to think and reply back in the PR. Let me reply
Yeah,
back.
that's no worries. I didn't mean to put you on the spot right now.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I go ahead.
I just took a look at this a little before the meeting. Just wanted to put my thoughts down before I forgot.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
You take a look. None of them are like blocking for us to merge this in, though. Because like this PR is getting quite large. So if we wanted to merge this and then do incremental updates to it, that would be fine too.
Yeah, I think a little cleanup, like, if we remove the comments, like that one seems pretty straightforward. So I guess that's where I was kind of going, like, we should, if we can do the easy things and get it cleaned up and ready to go, that would be great. And like, if we got new features to add or whatever, that sounds like a perfect follow-on thing, because this is already doing some pretty cool stuff. So
okay, sure. Yes. Let me address the comments right away. And then probably like in a couple of hours, I'll ping Kevin. So we should be ready to merge this. I think Gabriel has put in his comments. So it would be easy to run with make flags.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, I noticed, I don't know if you can hear me properly, but I noticed that when you ran this, it ran only one job at a time, right?
Right.
So if you run node.js internally, then you can easily get like require OS CPU's length from node, right? And then running with an environment variable that says like make flags or make ops, I can never remember which one it is, set to -j, and then that number returned by node, that will run your build in parallel, so that it runs as many jobs as you have CPUs.
Right.
And
I can try that out. I can try it right now. Do you know what it is? Make. I've did this before, but I forgot what it is as well. Like, is it make ops?
It's either make flags or make ops. So the demo you just gave, if you prefix that with make flags equals, like, I don't know how many CPUs you have, like 12 or whatever, then it'll just build everything in parallel and it'll be super fast.
Yeah, I think we want that for the build, but not necessarily the run of the tests, right?
Yeah, I mean that the test runner will run however it runs. That this is not going to change the make flags.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Make ops equals -j. I don't know, give it like 8 or 5 or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, and if this still runs in sequence, and it still does, then just interrupt and call it make flags, because I can never remember if it's make ops or make flags. Yeah, this is still in sequence. So it's make flags, I guess. I was just typing both because it's gonna pick up one.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. See?
I think it's running.
Okay. Yeah, that's running faster. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
So is that for our documentation, or is that something we should?
Well, either way, I mean, if we call node.js anywhere in our code, then we have the opportunity to set the environment variable to this when calling it, right? And this would automatically adjust itself to the user's system, right?
Right. Okay.
If not, then if it's not easy, if we don't call node.js, if we rely on like npm to call node.js for us, then we can just document that
or did that fail to run for some reason though?
Yeah, it failed.
I think what I would suggest is, like, let's do this as a follow-on. Like, let's get what you've got landed and then add this in, right? Like, because it seems like there's a little something, like maybe because it doesn't wait or whatever, it might take a little bit more work. But yeah, that would be a good thing to do, but probably good next step?
Now, in the documentation about the tests, we have only a paragraph on the README file. So my opinion is that we should move the content of that paragraph in a file in our documentation and explain all what we added with these new things.
Sure. All right, sure.
Yeah,
I already have created a separate README. I'll move the contents of this README to this README, right?
In the README, you can move the section tests on a separate file, and in the header you can link the file, the new file. So we have in this way, my opinion, we could have a better organized documentation about the tests and how it's possible to execute or add a new test.
Okay, so I'll add another header.
But you can do this in a separate PR. We can merge all your work that you did until now, and then you can concentrate on write this documentation. So with all what you explain what you did, and then you can start to improve. So it's my idea. I don't know if you agree. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I agree that. Let's do that in a separate pair. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's looking pretty good, and it'll be nice to get the first piece and the good first a few good follow-ons after that. Let me go back to the okay, if I can find, there we go. Okay, I'm going to share again. So I think the next things we have on is to look at issues in the Node and Node add-on repos. I don't know if there's any ones that people want to call out to start with.
There's one we discussed last week. It's
PR issues.
It's a pull request in Node add-on API.
Okay.
The remove const from async progress workers.
Right. Okay. Right.
1086.
So I think it's out. Yeah, you were. I don't know if you want to lead that discussion.
I asked him if the issue could be fixed by putting the const somewhere else, and then he responded that there was a bunch of errors elsewhere. So it sounds like the best place is going to be on making the signal non-const, but I'm not sure, like we discussed, how the replications are for breaking changes and whatnot when you change it from const to non-const. There's that, and then there's also some oddity happening where the signal isn't being triggered for the async progress queue worker, but it is being triggered for the async progress worker, or async worker, excuse me. So that's like a secondary issue. And
is that something he reported when running the tests, or how is that?
This was reported in his the first comment. He edited it to add the fact that this was failing, because he added his tests to show his correction of the PR, and I guess perhaps signal wasn't being tested for this method. I'm not sure.
Signal didn't seem to be tested at all.
Right.
So that's why, like in the original, sorry, go ahead.
So now he's saying that he tried to add the signal test for his PR to test it, and now it's failing. And that he says that it's only for one of these specializations of progress worker.
Okay, so that, I guess that's something worth figuring
Line
out, whether it's a
100
test.
here.
Line 100, sorry.
Yeah, that is not triggering. So that's like a secondary issue
Okay,
that we could look into. So I guess we can discuss this sort of one at a time. The first being the const removal. I'm not sure the breaking changeness of it was the thing.
right. So I guess like the first question I had is like, you can call, I guess you can call signal directly in addition to where it's being called. Like if it doesn't compile, then the flow that needs the change obviously hasn't been tested or reported, right?
If it no longer compiles,
It's almost like it never would have compiled, I think. Unless we broke it along the line somewhere.
and signal is, I mean, maybe it wouldn't be breaking because this isn't a method that implementers are supposed to override, correct? This is our method that people call. And
Right,
as long as this method, this method doesn't modify its own properties, which it doesn't, it should be okay to remove the const. And I guess since we were never testing it before, that's why it was it was failing, because
right.
it was failing compilation because of this const aspect.
Is there some code though that could be calling it and relying on it being const that would fail? Like if a const method was calling this, would it no longer be able to be const, or is it because it's on, it's the class, it won't matter?
Oh, I see.
That's the only
Yeah,
thing
so
that I was thinking.
if you had some sort of wrapping, some sort of object where it had a member of this async progress worker, and then you had a method on your wrapper that was const because it was calling signal. And now if we remove the const off signal, I don't know if it would compile then, because your wrapping method is const and you're calling a non-const method on a member variable of your class. I don't know.
Right.
That'd be something that we would have to sort of
You have to figure that one out.
test. Yeah.
I guess the other question would be like, does adding const on any of these other things make sense? But I guess it's, I guess it breaks an existing test, so that's adding the const can definitely break code as well, right?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely.
And I guess that says it's not really const.
I went ahead and raises async thread situating these const on the constructor. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's not really const. I don't.
Yes, yeah, it's really figuring out how big a deal do we think it is to remove the const on that? Will that break anybody? Because our only other choice would be like add a new method which isn't const, right? And
Right.
deprecate the existing one. You know, it would have to be signal internal, right? Or
oh man, I
I
wonder.
mean, I think the other thing we can do is you can cast things, can't you?
I don't think you can cast from const to non-const. Because that's basically telling the compiler, because const is like a compiler property of that identifier. And then you can
You can do const cast, but it's generally a bad idea. If something is const, it's const for a good reason.
Right, I guess we're like, we don't actually think it's const in the end. But maybe we should just, maybe it should be that we have like a new signal and deprecate the old one. Like
We have a few.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying we have a few const casts in the code. Like I'm just looking at the implementation of Node API, like in core, and we only have 2 of them in the entire code.
Right.
So yes, it's possible, but generally not a good idea.
Right. So really, I guess it's like we should, the safest is probably to introduce a new one and deprecate the old one, right? Do we have deprecated methods on the Node add-on API side?
There was that deprecated header file.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, that seems like a, you know, it's a small amount of code for one. Right. If this is, or well, actually, we should look at what Signal has in it, but right, there's the deprecated, right, for sure. Right, okay, so basically, you know, adding in a few more lines, the name will maybe perhaps be not as nice, but I don't know what we'd call it, right?
Dispatch signal. I don't know.
What about update? No, I don't know. Dispatch. I'm okay. I like dispatch. Does it have to, or like, does it have to?
I don't know, like it's basically the exact same method. I would almost like signal to or something.
Okay, let's.
I don't know, like, you know, we just want the simplest derivation of the name so that you know you should use it instead.
Right.
I guess there's a few like this right here. Like this is like, are we going to need to do a few of them? Like, is this const too?
I think if you were to look at the changes in his PR, you would be able to see everything that he needed to.
Sure. Okay. Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
I guess we would need to have a number of.
But the execution progress signal. That's not what. Or is it this, like, we don't, the developer only calls one of these signals, right? And the other one is internal. Like, I think you call signal on the execution progress.
Right, okay.
So we really would only be making a duplicate of user facing APIs. I think only the execution progress signal.
Okay, so that would be the non-const, but these but some of these people wouldn't necessarily override, or you be able to.
I think it still needs to be overridden like this, but I think it doesn't need to be documented because it would be an internal method. I don't know off the top of my head what the documentation has.
So I guess in the worst case, it would be 4 new methods.
Right.
Right.
And the best, it would be 2.
Right. That doesn't seem terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sort of move from the documentation. We can put the old ones into deprecated and, change the documentation.
But are we saying that any call to signal would have never compiled correctly?
That's kind of where I was wondering if that's the case, because if that's the case, then I'm not worried at all, right?
Yeah, maybe that's what we can verify then. Like, if it never compiled, then we should just remove it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like if it's, yeah, exactly. Like if the signal, like if basically it wouldn't compile because signal was const and this was not const, then yeah, agreed.
Right.
That
So
I'm just not sure of.
I guess I can try taking his tests and different versions of an API header files and seeing if it just compiles or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
because if it just doesn't, if it doesn't compile, then yeah, we should just remove it, because it's like, yeah, okay, we had some code nobody could have used, so let's make it usable.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that as an action item.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any others that we want to talk about first?
And then there was the second part, I guess, which was the failure,
yes,
the signaling of the async progress queue worker.
Right, I guess that one we just need to look at the code and figure out why, right?
Right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I can't, like, one is just like the queue worker is backed by a thread safe function, and the async worker is not. And then that's why the async work, like, there's different implementations of them. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can try looking at that too if I have some free cycles after doing this first check.
Sounds good. Like it's maybe, so behind them, they have a different, the queue. Yeah, anyway, yeah, if you can take a look, and it may be again, like signal didn't work at all. You could never have called it. So that would, if that is the case, that gives us the flexibility to say, well, like, should async progress queue worker have a signal? And so forth.
Right, okay. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, that one's good. Any others that people want to call out? Just looking here to see if there's anything that pops out. Let me just take out this PR to see what's new. Talked about that. We talked a bit about that. I think those are other old, so it doesn't really look like there's anything else there. Let's flip over to Node. There, I think there is at least one that's worth touching base on. So this one I did ask a quick question, and I see. Right. Okay, so yeah, so one was like, this was some discussion on one of the issues Jack opened. And it's interesting, like we only have a single extended error info per env for performance reasons. And even our examples were basically doing the wrong thing in that they were using that extended error. They were getting it, but then making another call and then using it, which because it's a shared structure, it doesn't work. So I was adding some doc to clarify that. And what I did was I actually just copied out the pointer to the message because I knew that internally we had like a static table. So those would actually be okay. But I guess I just threw on the questions like, do we actually want to commit to that? So I just was, I copied Gabriel and Nick just to get some thoughts on like, do we want to commit that we would never, we could make those messages, we could have made those messages a copy, but because we don't have a way to deallocate, although I guess cleanup could deallocate. Anyway, it was like, do we want to commit and document that error message actually will stay static and you can use it after another call versus other things? Or do we want to force people to copy that error message if they want to use it later on?
If I remember correctly, the error message is a static constant from core, right?
Yes, like it's basically here. I can go here. I think no, did I?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's safe for people to keep it because it'll be around for as long as the whole process is around. So
that's what I was thinking. Like forcing a copy wouldn't necessarily what we wanted to do. So
yeah.
I don't know why this is not going there, but oh yeah, here. So this is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But we're basically, that's our current implementation. We'd be effectively committing to always do something like that.
I don't know. I think that's pretty safe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
that's
we're
what I
talking
was
about
thinking
statuses,
too.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think forcing a copy doesn't seem. It seems nice to avoid that copy, right? So.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, we are talking about an error case, right? So things are already off the nominal path. So I don't know that performance matters that much, unless it's an error that implementation or that the application knows how to handle, and it happens in a tight loop. I mean, that's a pretty long list of ifs.
True, but having to copy and it's going to add in an extra line, like even if you never run it, it does add extra complexity to the code itself that has to say, okay, well, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to then free it and.
Exactly, because in this crazy situation you are in a tight loop, then you are very likely or very easily you can very easily end up with like a memory leak, right? Because if you forgot to free it, now it explodes because you have so many things copied.
Right. So this is right. Correct. So I think he then pointed out that like we're actually not clearing the error, which is correct. So Jack, I don't know. I commented on the other issue. If you wanted to take a look at a PR for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the answer was, I was going to say, what is yours again?
It's JCK. Yeah.
JCK.
Yeah.
Was going to submit a PR to fix the cleanup of the, what do we call that? Error message. Parameter, not parameter, member.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to add in here from discussion in the node API team today. Okay, to end. Okay, that's good. Let's see, are there any others? Okay, so this one is not new. There was some discussion. I don't think there's anything else new then. Okay, so any other things we should talk about this week before we close out?
Sorry, I just have a question for the error and exceptions, if that's okay.
Yep.
So what do we do about the how to handle it within the error new implementation? Because right now, their shared structure gets mutated, so we sort of don't handle some of the cases.
Right. Which issue was your
1089?
Yeah. 1089 in Node add-on API, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go there and then I'll share again. Issues 108. Right, and then share. Right, so this code, right?
Yep.
So I think what you need to do is, once we get this last error info, you need to copy this. So basically do this up here.
Okay.
Right after, because basically this call will mutate what you've got back in info. So you need to copy out what you need from there.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, if we keep the error code, I think the code as it is now, we might end up with a null pointer at the end for error, because the switch statement doesn't handle certain cases. If for example, if it's nappy, if we expect an object, it won't handle it. So we won't actually create an error, and subsequently we won't pass anything to the the constructor and get a reference.
Okay, so sorry, help me get that. So you're talking about down here?
Yeah, the switch statement.
Right. So has that error been mutated as well as what you're saying?
Yeah, the error code after you call nappy exception pending, so that will always be okay. So we always go to the default case, no matter.
Yeah, I think you'd want to copy both of those.
Okay.
Basically, yes. I mean, yeah, copy both of them immediately after you call this, and then in the other one, I just had a const car star error message equals this, right?
Yeah.
And then you can copy the error code out and then use those instead of whatever was returned in info.
Okay.
Because basically once you make this call, the contents of that info is no longer valid. The doc actually says that, but it's very easy to not, our code doesn't do the right thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where in the other PR I changed the example because it was doing the wrong thing too, and then added just an extra line that says, by the way, that includes this call, and that's a very common case. So
yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other things we should chat about before we close out for today? If not, thanks for everybody's time, and we'll see you in GitHub and next time.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks.